I've always said Nightmare on Elm Street would be a lot better with a lot of, damn it, fuck it, a lot more singing and dancing. I'm gonna keep going. Welcome to I Hope You Suffer.
I like a lot more, damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo.
This is episode 169 of I Hope You Suffer.
Hey.
Nice.
I knew at least one person was going to say it, not all four. I'm Nathan.
I'm Kit.
I'm Katie.
This week, we are joined by Lori and Aria from Queer Horror Cult.
Hey, how's it going? I had to mute for a second there because my water went down the wrong pipe. It's a great way to kick this off.
Yeah,
Hello.
it's gonna be one of those episodes. We'll get into all of the disasters we had trying to watch this movie, but we are gonna be talking about Mahakaal, aka the monster, the Bollywood Nightmare on Elm Street ripoff that we all kind of watched.
We watched his
Kind
best
of is very
we could.
generous. But
It came out in 1994, but started being made in 1988.
Had to take their time and get it right.
Mhm.
Still not as long as the 30-something years it took bloody muscle bodybuilders in hell to get made, but
oh, fuck, I'm dying to see that movie.
you can buy there. I could send you a link. There's a region-free DVD of it for that I got all three of us for $7 each.
Oh, damn. Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah, it's so good.
Definitely worth it.
All right, yeah. So when I usually find these movies that I know we need to have English subtitles, and I go to YouTube and find one, usually what I do is I'll just flip through just skip through it periodically, be like, okay, there's English subtitles, this is fine. And so that's what I did with this one, and then I started watching it the other night, and an entire scene went by with no subtitles, and I was like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden, subtitles kicked in about 2 to 3 minutes late. So all of them on mine were roughly 2 to 3 minutes behind what was happening. So
Yeah.
you would have a scene go with all of this dialogue, and you'd be like, well, I don't know what any of this is. And then all of a sudden there'd be this I don't know, one of the scenes where the Anita's trapped in hell world getting chased by this Freddy that's darling, we know you're having these nightmares, what can we do? And I was like, what? Come on. So
This was one instance where I was happy for the singing parts, because then I'm like, okay, cool, now I can catch up on all the dialogue I missed. Really
That's,
important while they're having a picnic.
That's pretty interesting experience, because I know our experience was that we ended up watching it on the weekend just before recording this, and the YouTube link you sent us had been pulled, so it wasn't available anymore.
And it
So
had been pulled less than 24 hours
Yeah,
before we
because I
tried to
had
watch
checked
it.
the night before and sent the link. It was perfect, we got this, and it was pulled. So the version we saw had no subtitles. So I watched this and experienced it for the first time, the same way I experienced Necromantic for the first time. Just, a lot of people don't know this about me, but I don't understand Hindi. It's wild, but that's the Canadian way, I guess, just being a piece of shit that doesn't have culture outside your borders. And so I was completely lost watching this movie, but at the same time not, because of how many signposts of culture, I'll say that, signposts of culture there were in this.
yeah, so we were talking a little bit before we recorded, and I had looked up a little bit of this because I came up with this idea that I wanted to start doing on the podcast, try to do once a month a horror movie from like a non-usually regarded like horror country. And so last month we did an Egyptian movie called Fangs, which is like, it's always labeled as like the Egyptian Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh shit. Okay,
That
well I
sounds
need to
fun.
watch that.
I can send you a link
It's
to that too.
fantastic.
It fucking rules.
Thank you.
And so, like, this was the second one on my list because I'd seen it on Letterboxd and I was like, oh, I gotta see. Like, my ex-wife and I used to go to like this Indian grocery store when I lived in Ohio, and they would always have on like these Bollywood movies that I would be like, I think this is Top Gun, like, or something like that, right? Like, it would blatantly be like this, like, kind of like rip off of like whatever American movie came out like maybe 4 years earlier. And so I was always like fascinated by like these kind of spoof / rip offs of like American movies in like Bollywood form. And then I realized there was a bunch of horror ones, and I was like, as soon as I saw Nightmare on Elm Street, I was like, I'm in. Like, we're never doing Nightmare on Elm Street on this podcast, so this is the closest people are gonna get. And so I had kind of been, I've had this on my watch list for a while, and I'd looked up a couple things about it. And so watching it, like, at one point I just turned, like, about halfway through I just turned the subtitles off because they were just too distracting to try to read 2 scenes earlier with whatever was going on. And for the most part, good.
They definitely like got slower and slower towards like the middle, so I also just turned mine off.
Oh, well, there's also like, I think there's like 12 minutes missing from the video that we watched. And I don't know if that was like credits or something, but like everything says that it's supposed to be like, you know, in 2 hours and 12 minutes or something. And it was like an hour 59 on the one I watched.
Yeah, the one we
mine
watched
too.
was 2 hours 5.
Okay. Yeah. So,
But yeah,
Oh.
it makes sense that it's so long because it's beat for beat Nightmare on Elm Street, but they have to stop every 15 for a dance sequence, and those were like some of my favorite parts of the movie.
so the two aspects of this that are different is that the Freddy Krueger character is an evil magician that is killing children to gain power, as opposed to being like a, you know, depending on which version of Nightmare you're watching, like a child assaulter and all this shit. So
A crispy ghost pedophile.
yeah. I like that version of it. Like, so that's like, and it's something like, you know, I forget exactly how like the thing I read about it phrased, but it was like, you know, the parents like killed him or whatever, but like his power was too strong because of how many children he had killed to gain power, so he's just like still there. And that they added in all of these weird scenes of like the two main characters that like every time they leave the house are just getting like assaulted. And I guess it's because there was just like a huge problem at the time in the country of just these like roving gangs of dudes just going around and like groping women in public. So they were just like,
Jesus.
they were like adding this like bit of like social commentary into it a little bit. It's like,
That moment in this was so uncomfortable too.
it's yeah, like I was watching it and I was like, I know there's like aspects to this that aren't, it's not just a straight like remake, but I was like, there's a lot of like assaulting of these like two main characters going on, like a lot in this, like every time they go anywhere.
They really went through it.
Yeah, one of the assaulters was just like, time to get the hose again, and that was just so fucking weird with like the garden hose on the quad.
That like,
And it's like,
well,
what the fuck?
I was gonna say that was also a scene that I was like, oh, this is weird, with just like not being able to see the subtitles until like 3 minutes later. I was just like, this is awkward. I don't like this. Because then all of a sudden, like,
to sit in class with her wet clothes.
like all of a sudden something like, you know, 3 minutes go by and I don't remember what the scene is after it. Then I just remember like one of the subtitles that comes up and it's just like, well, let's get you wet first. And I was like, oh no.
Oh Jesus. Okay, yeah, that's pretty bad.
I was like, I'm not into this. But I guess like other than the you know, subtitle trouble, how did everybody feel about this movie? Lori, Aria, you can go first.
Okay, I the most bumming part about the experience of watching this was that YouTube would go mute for about 5 minutes anytime a Michael Jackson song would kick up because of the copyright strike.
Yeah.
And I just gotta say, I love
Yeah.
the energy of a movie that just unabashedly is just like, we're gonna have one guy dressed like Michael Jackson through the whole thing, and he's just gonna bust into, like, it's like one of those like shitty lip sync battles, but great. And I'm kind of sad that YouTube decided that wasn't for my ears. But like, this movie was so 90s in that regard that like I expected him to start doing the Bartman or something. It was
I would have lost my mind. What about you, Arya?
Yeah, no, I'm glad you provided that context of sort of like what was going on at the time and that they put that into the movie, because I was also pretty kind of confused and not sure what to make of the gratuitous assault and stuff that would happen seemingly without a lot of explanation. So, but that makes sense, and I like that they were taking, yes, real life issues that were happening and bringing it into the movie, even though it seemed sort of like a cut and dry just rip off of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it was fun, even though, I didn't have, wasn't 100% sure what was going on all the time, especially when they would break into song and dance, but that also just made it really fun. So I enjoyed watching it.
Yeah, I liked it. I was intrigued enough that like I started searching for DVDs of this and found at least someone in the US that released a US like version on Blu-ray. So I ended up buying that because I'm like, I want to see what this is actually like to watch.
I'm kind of kicking myself because I pre-ordered their copy of Toxic Zombies when they put it out, and I was on the fence like, oh, if I'm ordering direct, should I add this movie, Mahakaal, to it? It's like, I don't know. I need to save money, so I won't. And now I'm kind of mad that I didn't.
Like who did I think it was like, it's Massacre something is who I bought it from.
Massacre Video,
Yeah.
the cats that showed up on Judge Judy to defend their company.
No.
That's a true fact. That happened,
Uh-oh.
and they
That's
won.
incredible.
So good for them.
Rules. They had like a bundle for like $40 with like a T-shirt with like the poster art on it, and I was like, oh, I kind of want that, but I also don't want to spend like $40 on it. I'll just go with the DVD.
Yeah.
So
That's fair.
I'm excited to actually get to like watch it with hopefully working subtitles.
Understand it.
Yeah,
Watch, there won't be
'Cause,
subtitles
like,
on it either.
all of the like Dream Freddy stuff kind of slaps in this. Like,
Yeah.
I was into all of that, and like especially when you get to like kind of the climax of the movie, like the thing we had like when we watched Fangs was like all of the set pieces are great. Like everything looks cool in these movies. And so even with like out the context of really knowing what everyone's saying, and as far as I could tell, like all of the songs in it are just kind of like general, like we're in love, blah blah blah, like, you know, whatever songs. So like I think as far as I could tell, like none of that necessarily had any sort of basis on plot. So
Right.
like I guess without this movie enough without understanding what anyone was saying, hi Xerxes, just like I don't know, it intrigued me enough that I was like, I'll buy this, I'll watch this again. So I liked it. Katie.
Yeah, I'd watch it again too.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was kind of a hallucinogenic experience, like going from a fairly familiar Nightmare on Elm Street story with, like you said, some really cool sets, to suddenly we're in a park and like singing and dancing for 5 minutes. It's like, what? Wait, what's going on? And then back to terrifying dream world, and then we've got a Michael Jackson impersonator fighting off a bunch of dudes in a park, and there's a wild trip, especially when you don't have any kind of subtitles. So I also watched the unsubtitled version. I think I recommend watching it without subtitles, just so you can kind of take it all in.
Yeah, I would say
Just
if you're
soak in
gonna
it.
if you're just gonna watch it on YouTube, don't even bother with the subtitles because they're so distracting. Whether like with being so far off that it's a much better viewing experience without.
Yeah, experience it raw.
What about you, Katie? So
It was fine. I think it's really hard for me to judge because, like, as I said in the Fangs episode, I don't like singing and dancing and things. There actually wasn't as much singing and dancing as I expected in this one. I have seen other, like, Bollywood movies before, so I, like, kind of knew what to expect in that aspect. But yeah, kind of like to what you were saying earlier, Nathan, where, like, the songs don't have anything to do with the plot at all, really, except for, like, so it kind of almost reminded me of, like, Nightmare on Elm Street meets, like, Grease or something, because there's just, like, they're, like, singing about being in love. There's, like, there's, like, people, I don't know. So it was kind of like a mix of those things, so it was fine, but I feel like I can't really judge it properly because I have no idea what was going on most of the time. But, like, it was, I don't know. I liked the dancing. Like, everyone was really good at dancing. Everyone was gorgeous. Like, so it wasn't boring, but I do wish I could have understood, like, what was happening, especially because there's, like, a lot of stuff going on with, like, the main character, Anita's, like, family and, like, her dad. That then I think maybe, was he also the police officer? I just had, like, a really hard time, like, following what was going on.
He's
so
like,
the whole thing,
I can't remember if he's like police or military, but basically,
yeah. Because then when they showed the scene where, like, the dad was, like, fighting the Freddy, I was like, what the fuck is happening now? Is this, like, now? Is this in the past? I was so confused. But I don't know, there was some pretty cool stuff. Like, I liked that when that lady was in the bed, that was pretty cool.
yeah, all the stuff, like the kills that are, like, taken straight from Nightmare on Elm Street are all pretty cool in here. That one is specifically with the waterbed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you can go ahead.
I was just gonna say I loved how unashamed it was.
Yeah,
in where they ripped.
Yes.
it's
Like the whole soundtrack too, just like
Yeah.
lifting the entire Elm Street score and like occasionally, changing it up just a tiny bit.
it's really funny because, like, I'll keep comparing this to Fangs only because it's, like, the two we've done so far, but, like,
Right.
Fangs straight up ripped off, like, they play Pomp and Circumstance in it. Shit, what were the other ones? There's, like, 4 songs that they just straight up play in it.
Is it the Jaws theme?
Yeah,
I think pops up.
Yeah,
I think
at one
Jaws
point.
thing. I think Indiana Jones maybe gets played in it.
Oh, I'm trying to remember. There was a few.
And-
Well, there was at one point where one of the girls is singing, and I forget what song, but it was like a Blondie or a Madonna song or something that she was
that
like,
must have been
singing in
muted
English.
for us too.
Yeah, there were, like,
Oh, okay.
there was a couple scenes where, like, but, like, the things at ours that were muted, it didn't seem like anything was going on. Like, there's the scene where they're at the hotel or whatever because their car breaks down. That's got that just weird fucking, like, whatever's up with that dude with, like, the Hitler mustache.
Oh fuck yeah!
Like, there's
That was so weird.
that was the scene that I was like, I can't pay attention to this and read these, like, subtitles that are way off. I was like, I don't know what's going on. This is freaking me out. So whatever.
Well, they played Pink Panther.
Like,
on.
there was a scene.
In Fangs.
Oh yeah, there was a scene in that where they're at the hotel, like, before they both start peeping. That, like, the dude's just kind of, like, walking down, like, whatever corridor, and there was, like, no sound. And I was just like, this is weird. Like, I don't know why there's no sound in this. So the only thing I could think is there was some sort of copyright music that.
Yeah.
Well, that was the Michael Jackson impersonator again.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, maybe. I wonder if he's just, like, singing Michael Jackson the whole time. Because when he first gets introduced and he jumps in and it plays, like, the Sting from Thriller, like, that was in our video. But then
it just went silent there.
It was played, like, fast forward, like, sped up.
Oh, have any of you
rewatch this?
Have any of you seen the actual, like, Bollywood Thriller video?
Yes.
Oh, it's so
fuck.
good.
Years ago, yeah.
That's all I wanted was for that to break out in this.
I love these
Yeah, I
guys.
definitely. I don't know why I expected this to be kind of more like I guess what I was expecting was more like a play version where they were, like, acting, like singing and dancing to things that were happening actually in the movie related to Nightmare on Elm Street, and not just like, it's time for a picnic, woo!
Right.
So
I kind of prefer dance breaks.
Yeah.
Like, things are getting a little too hairy, a little too scary. Like, let's go to the park and let's sing it out.
Like, if they want to do an actual, try to remake Nightmare on Elm Street again, add a couple dance breaks. It can't be any worse than the one they already tried to remake.
Oh god, I fucking saw that in theaters, and that was terrible experience.
I was always like, I'm never gonna watch this, and then it came to Netflix one day, and I was like, well, I'm already paying for this, so I guess I'll just watch it. And I was just like, oh man, this is worse than everyone said it was.
It's like the cinematic equivalent of the Call of the Void. You're just like, well, I'm in it. May as well just head into that darkness and just, accept what comes.
Well, I was like, this movie can't be as bad as everyone said it was, and I was like, oh yeah, this is really bad. And I keep seeing people clamoring for a new one, and I'm like, can you please not? Like, can we just let this die? We don't need any more new nightmares. Just unless Robert Englund wants to do one more, then leave it alone.
But don't you know everything has to be a cinematic universe now? Otherwise, it's not valid.
Yeah. Not thrilled with the landscape currently, but
yeah.
complained about that enough on this podcast. The nightmare scenes in this, like I said earlier, are all really cool looking and have a lot of chain clanging effects going on.
Mm-hmm.
That
like a chain clang.
I love that it like opens with like a nightmare too. Like you're thrown in like immediately, and you just get like her waking up. She's got the claw mark on her arm. Obviously, no one believes her, I think.
Right, just like a Tina in the OG.
Yeah. All the nightmare stuff rules. The waterbed scene, incredible.
Yeah, I was trying to remember which one that was from. Like,
I think it was 4. I think it was Dream Master, yeah.
I haven't watched that franchise in so long. I was like, when we started planning this, I was like, maybe I'll do like a full rewatch, and then I was like, I don't have time for this. I'm watching Asylum movies.
I don't have time for this. Now to go through the entire Asylum catalog.
I took a break from that, and now I don't know if I can get back to it because I don't know if I have the strength. But that's what I'm doing with my free time. But like, because that was one too. Like that happened. I was like, I know this is from one of them, but I could for some reason I wanted to say it was 3, but 4 sounds more likely.
I think 3 was in the asylum, the institution with all the kids with powers. Yeah. So I think it was after that.
That scene rules. Only thing I was missing.
I like the finale.
Yeah,
the set piece for the finale where it's like the big skull with the like kind of weird bodies like strapped to it. That was super rad.
It felt very New Nightmare, but was New Nightmare out yet? I don't remember when New Nightmare came out.
So.
New Nightmare was 94. I think they came out the same year.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that scene with the skull, with all the bodies, I meant to bring this up. It totally is just like straight up a set piece from 1988's The Church by Michele Soavi.
That's why that looked familiar.
That pillar of writhing bodies in that like mud orgy come out of the floor of the church, and it just like it reminded me of that immediately.
I watched that this summer for the first time, and I was like, the entire time I was like, this feels like it was from something, and I couldn't place what it was.
Right? Yeah.
God, movie rules.
I love it. Demons 3, The Church.
One of the like 8 non-continuity Demons movies. I watched all of them except Cemetery Man this summer. So I gotta watch Cemetery Man, which I bought and I just haven't gotten to yet. So
I'm a huge simp for Cemetery Man.
That's like one of my partners. Like I don't know how they ended up watching it as a kid, but they did. So it's one of those movies that they always talked about, and I was like, well, fuck it, I need to watch it to complete my Demons watch through. So I'll just buy it.
Demon journey.
Yeah, that whole ending set piece is great. I love the end where they just like guillotine the Freddy character, but like it doesn't do anything, but just kind of hurt his back.
Doesn't it like take his legs off and he's just crawling across the floor with no legs?
Oh, does it?
And
Yeah.
they just do do the Terminator ending where she's like behind the cage thing and he's reaching, and then they just lower the big spike trap onto him. It's like, oh, all right, he's dead now.
I
There he
didn't.
goes.
I didn't realize he was missing legs. I just saw him crawling, and I was like, "Did this just like break his back?" And he's just. I was like, "Isn't he some sort of like nightmare
He pulled
creature?"
it.
Like,
He pulled a muscle.
It
He's
had
old.
big Euro horror trappings in the ending with the torture dungeon that like reminded me of some like knockoff Jess Franco thing, which is like a knockoff of everything else.
I was into it. Like, just give me like I don't even like, again. I don't need to know what was actually happening. Just give me something cool to look at. I'll probably just go along with your movie.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Give me some like weird giallo colors going on. I'm in.
Yeah, I love the Suspiria lighting. It was great.
That was the aspect. That was like one of my favorite aspects is how much like red and like blue lighting was going on and like some of the dream shit.
It's funny. The first short film we made together, it was one of those things where anytime we'd frame a scene where it's like this is a bit boring, we would just be like Suspiria lighting, Suspiria lighting, and just like get some like colored light bulbs from Party City and point them at shit. It's such an easy way to make the movie look like amazing.
Yeah, it always works. Like I watched a shit ton of giallo movies this summer that like, and like a lot of the ones that came out after Suspiria that like weren't necessarily great usually looked pretty good because they were just like, well, I'm gonna just put some weird colors going on.
Yeah.
This weird violent death scene, that's fine. I've seen it before, but that green lighting, killing it.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't need a plot that makes sense as long as it's really cool to look at.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's like Fulci's whole thing, isn't it?
I think that's just the Italian horror way.
Yeah, it's the Italian way.
For a lot of it, yeah.
Just nothing makes sense. Here's some gore. Here's some boobs. You're good.
It works. It's a winning formula.
Yeah, that formula works so effectively on me that like my first and only tattoo so far is specifically Italian horror themed. So like, it's just I am so here for it. I will lay down my life for these movies.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't come to that.
I had signed up for Arrow's streaming service. And
Oh, nice.
what I was doing is they have like playlists where it's just like a bunch of shit from the 70s that you could just watch in a row. Or like, and then it has like 80s and 90s. So I just started the 70s and just started working through all of it. And I was like, all of the giallos I had never seen before. And then I had to take a break because I was like, this is depressing. I gotta watch something fun for a while.
Yeah, that's valid.
Yeah. I was like, I probably shouldn't be watching all of this extreme Japanese 70s movies and giallos mixed together with, or like, mixed
is it
together.
like just a Mako Kaji binge?
Yeah, it had a bunch of that. It had all of like the 70s giallo stuff Arrow had released, and then it had like kind of proto slashery stuff in there, and I was like, this is a lot.
Oh,
I'm just
cool.
gonna work my way through it. Then I'm gonna go watch like Hot Rod.
That's like the ultimate palate cleanser. It's like it's Hot Rod time.
Yeah. Anytime I'm like, oh, this is bleak, I'm gonna go watch Hot Rod. Anything else anybody wants to talk about in The Monster?
Oh, probably. One thing I really liked about the way that it was shot, and it probably says a lot about me, is how so many of the framings, especially early on, when like it would just cut to like some shitty rickety Jeep bumping down the beach in some like wide shot. It just reminded me of like Joe D'Amato movies, where it's like we don't have much going on in terms of like budget and huge set pieces, so let's just like use the landscape as much as we can. And these shots often don't even make sense in the context of the movie, but it's just like, oh, that's pretty to look at. It's like National Geographic, and then all of a sudden Freddy shows up.
Yeah, there was some like interesting cinematography stuff. The scene where the Michael Jackson impersonator and the dude that like works at that hotel get busted like peeping on that lady painting her toenails.
That was the first scene I ever saw for this movie, and it's just like, Jesus Christ.
Like they're peeping and she pulls them in, and like, you know, like you just hear the sounds of her like beating them up, but the camera does this like U swing, like a swing in the shape of a U while it's going on, so the door goes like upside down and then all the way back. And I was like, this is weird, but I kind of dig it. It felt very like Sam Raimi.
Yeah. And that whole scene is just so John Waters, like perverts watching someone paint their toenails through a door of the people. It's like these guys were in a dirty shame, and we were the bad guys if we felt poorly for their choices.
I was like, what is going on? This like everything when they get to that hotel is so out of place with the rest of the movie. I love it.
Is there like a Scooby-Doo false wall at some point that just like spins around and the Michael Jackson dude pops out? Or did I go into like a few states?
No, that happens, but I can't remember if it was the Michael Jackson guy. It was they again are walking down a street and start getting assaulted and run into like a restaurant where then everybody else in there decides to join in.
Jesus.
And then all of a sudden like the door turns around and it might have been him. I can't remember who it was, but it's some dude that's like in this very strange outfit from what I remember.
He was like it was like a weird like mob boss situation, but kind of Elvis-y because it had like castles, and I was like, what is happening now?
I always leave it to Katie because like with my work schedule, I'm like, okay, I have to watch this like Friday. Hopefully I'll remember stuff. Right. And Katie's like, I watch it like an hour before we record.
Yeah.
No, it was like Katie will remember.
So that's why if there's ever any issues, I'm the last to know.
Yeah, Kit and I'll text him.
I started it at like 3, and I was like, well, my subtitles don't work at all. Like mine are weird because they didn't work, and then sometimes they did, and then I ended up turning them off. But yeah, I had the same issue with like the weird sound. But yeah, I did not remember him spinning around in a door, but I do remember his outfit because it was by far the most intricate outfit in the show. So I do remember him.
Yeah, they're like at that restaurant or bar or whatever, and like the wall with the bar just spins around, and he was in like a pose like he was chained up in there, and then just like starts, I guess, kicking ass.
It's like some like double dragon boss popping out at the end of the level.
Yeah.
I love it.
I did also like whenever like the boyfriend, I think it was the boyfriend, like started like trying to beat up Freddy, and he was just like, yeah, and he was like doing this like straight kick, but he did it like 5 times, and I was like, wow, the balance behind that.
All of the fight scenes when people just start coming out and just start like kicking the shit out of people are pretty
amazing.
Very good.
Like Kit said,
yeah.
I think you said earlier, the pickaxe.
Yeah, just a bunch of dudes brawling like in the parking lot, and one guy throws another into the hood of a car, and then it cuts to him, and he's got a pickaxe over his head that he swings. And I was like, what the hell? That's incredible. It blew my mind.
Did y'all see Miami Connection?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Because it's got the fight and energy of that, where it's just like the fight just kicks up and it just goes from 0 to 60 like immediately.
That movie fucking rules.
I love that movie. Cocaine Ninjas from Florida.
I listen to that soundtrack like once a week.
Dragon Sound.
We had a Witness Dragon Sound for Halloween one year. When we bought the movie, I ordered a couple of the t-shirts at the same time.
That's amazing.
That rules.
Yeah, I came across mine the other day, and so I've been thinking of that movie again too.
Yeah, I think we're due for a rewatch.
It's like it's one of the things that I listen to so often that it's like it's constantly Spotify will be like, "You want to listen to Miami Connection?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I do."
Yes, you got my back.
Yeah, I don't know. Anything else anybody want to talk about with this movie?
I just wanted to talk about the pickaxe.
I can't remember if we mentioned the Iron Maiden shirt in the actual recording or not, but there's a very sick Iron Maiden golf shirt in this.
He also,
Someone,
the first time you
please.
see him, is wearing a Susie Sue and the Banshees shirt that I liked a lot.
What a king. It's too bad he's a fucking piece of shit in the
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, not
Someone-
great.
Someone please bootleg these shirts for us.
That shirt has to be a bootleg.
True.
Like I meant to like try to see if like just look up like collared Iron Maiden shirt to see if like anything came up, but
Yeah, I'll have to hit up AliExpress for those.
Well, aren't there bots now where if you,
yeah.
where you on Twitter or whatever, you see a design, you're like, oh, I wish someone would make a shirt out of this. There are like bots that name search for that and then steal the designs and start selling shirts of them.
Happened
Is
to us.
that like
Yeah,
how like
Oh, no.
that
Facebook
happened to
goes?
us. Yeah.
Like Facebook is
It
just
wasn't
like.
even.
So
It
go
was
ahead.
like lame too because somebody shared it and said, "I want this shirt." Like the shirt already existed, and they said they wanted it, not they want it as a shirt, but then
Right.
Right,
it got stolen.
Oh, that sucks.
So
dude.
The bots
Is
are
that-
not discerning.
I'm just thinking of like those bots that are just like, I have nightmares about Freddy, and I was born in May, and if you get on my bad side,
I swear, like all the time I threaten that we're gonna make a shirt with one of those shirts, like as an I
I
Am
got
Suffer
the
shirt.
weirdest fucking one sent at me, where it was just like, I play guitar and I do it well, and I like to play with Ukrainian women's feet. And it was just like, where'd my algorithm go? Because that doesn't sound like me, but also like, you know,
Like it started off okay and then kind of went off
maybe
the
it's
rails.
like it's like opened a door in my life.
I'm just gonna make with this like we're I Hope You Suffer. People know we're crazy, but they'll stick by us anyway. My dad's
We
forklift
love
operated,
David Arquette.
certified. Like, oh, yeah, this movie rules. Everybody go watch it.
Also, in terms of great outfits, I really appreciated the guy who his entire look was just that like matching tracksuit. Like he made me think of like a cartoon character that always just wears the same outfit every single day, and you could always count on him to show up in his signature fit.
Look, all I'm gonna say is I
He's
live.
got like a closet full of just the same.
Just those red
tracksuits.
Puma tracksuits, yeah.
I live in New Jersey now. That's gonna be me very soon.
Oh, I love it. See, I appreciate it. I'm bad at recognizing people in movies. Like, that's why I can't watch war movies, because they all have the same, like, shaved head, haircut
Yeah,
stuff, where it's like,
outfits and
who's that guy? Who's that guy? But it's like, dude's wearing the Puma tracksuit. At least I can follow that dude.
I know him.
I remember him fondly.
Well, I will update everybody if this movie makes sense with subtitles or not when I can actually watch it.
Yes, please.
Yeah, please
Okay.
do.
I'm also interested about like what the songs are about. Like the very first one obviously is exactly like the one that started Bangs, where they're like, we're in love and we can buy a phone together or whatever. But the other ones were like not connected to the movie at all. So I'm just like, what? Like especially that one, like the lady who ends up like getting trapped in the bed or whatever. Like I'm pretty sure that was like maybe that wasn't her. Right before that scene, there was like that club scene where they were like dancing, and some of them had like silver, and she had like a gold sparkly thing. I want to know what that song was about because it was by far the most random, like, of the dance numbers. I thought.
I think that might be the one time the video didn't mute for us. So yeah, that was a great dance number. Although I gotta say, you mentioned the dance numbers and all that, and tying back into the shirts. One of my favorite little moments was when we had to back it up to make sure that there's this dance number where they're in this courtyard, and it's like, okay, are we crazy, or does that one lady's shirt say therapy on it in big bubble letters? It turns out it said the party, which is also great, but I would wear either shirt. One that says the party or therapy. I don't give a shit. They're both great.
The party in the front, therapy in the back.
There you go.
I like the idea that they probably were just like, yeah, everybody just wear whatever you want. And somebody was just like, you know what's gonna be cool? My The Party shirt. And they were right.
Yes.
Well, I mean, they were right.
Yeah.
That was their thought
Like,
process.
that's pretty much how we did costuming when we'd go to thrift stores to buy shit. You know, it's just like, this shirt
Right.
is hilarious. I don't have a context for it, but we have to buy it for $3 anyway and just use it.
Yeah, makes sense. Use what
I
you
love it.
what you have access to.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds like everybody give this a thumbs up, except for Katie.
Recommended.
So maybe there's one possible exception.
Katie's stuck on the gladiator thumb where it's wavering sideways. It's like,
Yes.
Anytime I'm like, Katie, what do you think about this movie? And there's like a solid 5 seconds of
Long
silence,
pause.
and then a so. I'm like, all right.
Say no more.
Say no more.
I don't know. Like I said, I feel like it's the only context I have to compare this to literally is Fangs, and that's not fair because they're not the same kind of movie really. But it's just so hard. Like I actually on my Letterboxd just put that I watched it, and I didn't rate it at all because I just really feel like it's unfair to rate it without even actually knowing what was happening.
Look,
So
all I'm saying is I have an idea for next month, or maybe I don't know if we're gonna do Christmas movies in December or not. We'll figure it out. But there's a Turkish movie about a killer refrigerator that is sitting in my watch list. So
Well, that
I'm
just
in.
sounds fantastic.
yeah, I'm here for that. As
I'm
long
making
as-
Layla watch it too.
yeah, I think we should have Layla come on and tell us
Yes,
what we don't understand.
absolutely.
All right, Katie, did you look up any news at all?
Yeah. I looked at the news, but there's not a lot of news happening right
good.
now. It's all like 5 movies you forgot existed, and then it's like Halloween 3, and I'm like, okay.
I totally forgot about Halloween 3.
Yeah, I haven't seen
Yeah.
people
Yeah,
posting
speak for
about
yourself.
Halloween 3 for the last 2 months straight.
Yeah.
all right.
So pretty much no.
Let's what everybody watch lately. Lori and Arya, what did you guys watch recently?
You want to go ahead, Arya?
Sure. I got to see, and I guess I'll get to see it again tonight probably, but last week the new Chucky series premiered on
so good.
television. So I got to watch the first episode of that and really enjoyed it. It was a slower burn than what I'm used to any sort of like Child's Play Chucky stuff being, but at the same time, I think they're setting it up so that somebody who maybe hasn't seen Child's Play or any of the
Right.
other movies would be able to follow
Yeah.
along.
I will say
So-
so we might be an episode ahead of y'all then, because I think our third
Yeah, I think-
episode. So I won't
Yeah.
spoil anything, but the second episode you're gonna love it. It like
Nice.
it goes. So you basically get right into like old Child's Play type shit, and it's very like I've posted about it. And I know other people have. It's so queer friendly and great. It's like my favorite thing right now.
I did see somebody had done a drawing based off of an exchange that the kid has with Chucky that was very sweet and very
Yes,
affirming.
It's great.
So, yeah, because I think, they said I remember the first couple of episodes, 2 or 3, premiered at like a festival or convention or something like that. So I know some people have seen it from that. And then, yeah, we might just be a week behind in Canada because that's how it goes sometimes.
It's Canada. I'm surprised we're only a week behind.
Right.
But then the interesting thing is that, and I know this because from my mom watching it growing up, is we're a day ahead with The Young and the Restless soap opera.
Oh,
Just
oh, damn.
Wow.
text,
Right?
just start
Of all things.
posting
You need to-
spoilers for like American
Yeah.
moms.
You need to enter like a Young and the Restless betting pool and pretend you're like from Cincinnati and be like, I bet this happens. $50 down that
Yeah.
that person's twin is actually like a figment of their imagination.
My tumor.
Anything else?
So you
I'm
did?
trying to think
Arya?
if I've seen anything else. Anything else we
Yeah.
would have watched together. So
Yeah, I guess just for the podcast, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing the totally boneheaded idiot idea that I constantly do every year and then fail at, but I swear I'm not going to fail at this year, in that I decide to watch all of the video nasties, like all the movies banned in England for being too obscene. There's
Yeah.
like this official list,
Oh,
and I've
no.
just been going through them. And I decided this year I'm going to tackle the list again, but I decided this end of August, and I decided to do the bonus list. So I'm trying to fit in about 154 movies between end of August and end of the year. And it has been a nightmare, and my soul will never be the same.
I mean, look, you're doing that while I'm trying to watch 190 Asylum movies, so same.
Yeah, you
Essentially
feel
the
the
same
pain.
list.
Yeah, but it reminds me of what we were just talking about in terms of like you're mentioning with Mahakaal and Fangs and the music just being like, what are these choices? I watched this like bad cannibal movie, and I fucking hate cannibal movies, but I inflict this on myself. And when I say I hate cannibal movies, I mean like the nasty, shitty, like xenophobic ones, not
Right.
shit like Raw. I love Raw, but like the cannibal holocausts and Feroxes of the world. This is some bootleg one that it's trying to do those things, but very poorly. But it opens with a fucking Kraftwerk song about robots. And it's just like they're just going down the river, and it's just like boop, boop, beep, beep, boop, boop, beep, beep, as like some German synthesizer voice comes in. It's like, okay, well, this rules, but why? Why is this happening?
I'm in.
Yeah,
I don't
I do not
necessarily.
recommend this movie. It's called
All-
Primitives. It was very barf-worthy,
I
but
say, all I
yeah.
want to see is that scene.
Yeah, watch the first 5 minutes and you're solid.
I'm the same way. Like any of the cannibal movies, I'm like, I have no interest in this.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the only reason I can handle Cannibal Holocaust of all of them is because it has the option to turn off the animal cruelty scenes, and like, because those just fucking kill me. I saw it uncut for the first time when I was 18 at the local theater. They're playing it at like midnight, and it was just like, oh, we're here an hour early. What do we do? Well, Starbucks is open. Let's just eat a bunch of shitty cheesecake first. And it was kind of the worst fucking idea in the history of time, but it's like whatever.
Yeah. That sounds half fun and half terrible, trying to watch all those movies in a row.
It's been a mix because some
All
of them
I
are
heard-
genuinely great movies, but some of them are toilet movies from the toilet.
All I heard was like cannibal movie and a lot of shitty cheesecake, and it didn't sound good to me.
That's about all you need to get. Like that is the experience in a nutshell.
Let's see. I'm like, I don't know, 50 movies into this fucking Asylum watch that I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get back to. I did watch
No.
the
You
Pirates
don't have to. You don't have to commit.
I gotta at least watch Fast and Fierce with DMX. That's like my goal.
No, I'm sorry, you have to commit because I've been following your escapades on Twitter, and
Well-
it gives me life. So
I'll definitely get back to it, but like I watched a bunch of good stuff that I was just like, oh, this is gonna be rough getting back to. But it's one of those things where I have like a bunch of time at work that these movies I could put on and not fully pay attention to because I don't need to. But
right.
I did watch Pirates of Treasure Island, which has Lance Henriksen playing Long John Silver. So
Fuck.
that's a thing.
He looked great on the cover.
There was a movie called Hillside Cannibals that was just the Hills Have Eyes ripoff.
Right.
Naturally.
I had to watch their movie about the 9/11 Commission report, which was unwatchable.
Oh no.
I didn't know that was a thing.
It's so bad. I didn't either, and it's just right in the middle. I was like, what the fuck is this?
shit.
And it's pretty racist, gotta say.
Oh, did it have the energy of like when
Shock.
some cool church pastor is just like, hey kids, I like skateboarding and rock and roll, and you start hanging out, then like, oh, by the way, have you heard of the Bible?
No,
You're
it's like
oh, shit.
it's like if somebody watched Zero Dark 30 and was like, I could make this in my house.
Oh no. Oh no.
Because it's a lot of just people talking and then a lot of torture scenes.
Sounds great.
That's about it. Then I had to wipe my brain of Asylum movies, so I watched A Night at the Roxbury.
Ah, yes.
Perfect film.
I watched a very sick movie called Death Drop Gorgeous. That is
Oh, fuck, I've heard of that. I've not seen that one.
It's so good. I think you'll love it. It's got a very kind of modern giallo feel to it,
Ugh,
but
perfect.
it's all like drag queens, just like
Oh, that rules.
like
Yeah, it sounds so
yeah,
good.
it's I won't go in like because there's a lot of cool shit that happens into it, but like all I can say is it rules.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen it, but if you like that kind of energy, you should definitely check out Knife and Heart.
Oh yeah, Knife and Heart is one of my favorites. That movie's
Okay,
great.
perfect, awesome.
If I'll say there's a very good scene with a glory hole in it. So.
Yes, my kryptonite. Glory
This is all like right up our alley.
I rewatched The Void for like the 100th time. And then I watched Slumber Party Massacre 1, 2, and the remake.
How was the remake?
I love it. It's
Oh, cool.
It's got
Let's check it
very like it's very 2021 like teenager energy.
Okay.
Like it's very much made for a modern teenage audience. So like going into it, I was like, at the very beginning, I was like, oof, this is going to be very like Fear Street for me where I'm not going to enjoy this. But it's so meta and like there's so many like callbacks and shit. And like, I don't know, it's very fun. I definitely recommend it. I liked it a lot.
Oh, nice. Well, that's great to hear because I quite enjoy the original.
I like the original. I think 2 is better.
Oh, yeah, 2's great.
And I put it up there with 2 and like
cool.
and as much as how fun it is. And then I had to watch a bunch of wrestling movies for the podcast.
Oh, I had to watch a bunch of wrestling movies.
We did Alligator 2, a movie called The Cottage that no one's ever heard of that is David Arquette, and then I made Kit and Katie watch Russell Madness, an Air Bud Universe movie starring somebody about a wrestling dog.
Oh, doing the Lord's work.
That movie rules.
It was the best one. Easily.
Yeah, I'm glad you got a David Arquette movie in there because it feels kind of weird in 2021, the year of our Lord, to do a wrestling episode and he doesn't show up.
Yeah. Spoiler for next month. That's David Arquette's going to be our theme for next month for a bonus episode. So it'll probably be the same thing.
Oh, beauty.
So I don't know wrestlers at all. Like literally, I only know David Arquette, so I always go to David Arquette. He was really good in that movie. It was a really, really bad movie, but he was great in it. So I'm glad we get to redeem ourselves with hopefully 3 amazing movies.
Yeah, he gets to play like he seems like an affable dude that moves into this cottage in someone's backyard, and then he just slowly reveals himself to be like a fucking creep. And he's so good in that role. Like he just plays like weird creepy energy so well. Because he makes weird choices that I'm just like, this works, I'm into it. Kit, what'd you watch?
Let's see. I watched The Night House.
I know there's one movie you're dying to talk about.
I'm not gonna subject everyone to Dune talk for 3 hours. I promise. I'm gonna try and avoid it. I watched The Night House, which is really good. It's by David Bruckner, who's doing the new Hellraiser, and it got me way more excited for the new Hellraiser.
Oh, nice.
I watched The Kindred, which is one that I've been meaning to watch for years now, because it has the best VHS cover of like a weird little insectoid lizard baby inside of a baby bottle. I watched a shitty YouTube upload where everything was green and blue, but it was incredible. Highly recommended. Super cool, like gory tentacle creature effects. And then I watched Theater of Blood, Vincent Price classic.
Yeah.
Where he is so incredibly over the top. Loved it.
Doesn't sound like Vincent Price at all.
No,
Like,
no.
take typical Vincent Price and like ×3 with some top-notch outfits.
That sounds great. That sounds really good.
Mm-hmm.
There's no plot. It's just Vincent Price is an insane theater man murdering people. I adored it.
Why not?
Into it.
Do you want to recommend Dune?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Dune.
Just a little bit.
Is that all you wanted, Nathan?
I was
Dune?
just curious. I don't think I saw you post about it other than like that you were watching it. So I didn't know how you felt.
You're a liar. It's all I tweeted about all weekend was
Yeah,
Dune.
but you have to realize that I work while everyone's asleep, so I see.
I'll I'll do some late night Dune tweets.
I see everybody in England tweeting, and that's about it.
Oh, my condolences.
Weirdos like me who are still awake at 4 a.m. Katie, what about you?
Wow, I watched a lot of stuff. I rewatched both Urban Legend and House of the Devil. Amazing. Except I didn't remember that Jared Leto was an urban legend, so that made me sad.
He was the
It's
dog
like-
in the microwave, right?
It's like getting a Kinder Surprise, but when you bite into it, it's just a ball of hair in there. Like, I wasn't expecting this, and I'm not happy.
Literally,
not wrong.
I gave it a 4 on Letterboxd, and my review is that it lost an entire star because of the death of the dog and also Jared Leto.
Fair.
Reasonable.
Yes. I finally watched Color Out of Space.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
And it was amazing. I
I love that one.
I didn't watch it when it first came out because we had talked about doing, I think, that and Mandy together for something, and then we just never did it, and it's been I don't know, 2 years, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna watch this, and it was but it was fine because at this point I had forgotten all of the things that I've seen except I knew the llama thing, but overall I really liked it. It was crazy and wacky. I watched, let's see, but for kids' recommendation, I watched The Changeling, and I absolutely loved it. It slapped.
So good.
I would highly recommend it.
The George C. Scott one?
Yes.
Like the 80s movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
So essentially what happened was my Shudder was going to expire, and I don't really watch it that much, so I was just okay, whatever. So then I just tried to watch a bunch of stuff that was on my watch list, and I was asking them for recommendations on what I should watch, and that was one of them. I had never seen it somehow, and it's right up my alley. I absolutely loved it.
Did you watch Demons?
Then I also... No, not yet.
God damn
but
it.
Ooh, gotta watch Demons.
That's another one that you said to wait because we were gonna do it. Okay, so here's the secret.
Well, we've already done Demons. I think we said we were gonna do Demons 2, and you could watch it at some point.
Right, and then we were whatever. It doesn't matter. Here's the secret. I went to cancel my Shudder, and then it was hey, give us another chance. Do you want a month for free? And I was like, fuck yes, I do. So now I have a month. I'm gonna keep watching stuff. But I also watched the Poughkeepsie tape.
Ooh, yeah.
Not my finest hour.
That's a fucked up one.
Yeah.
I was also I had my iPad down there, and I was cleaning the kitchen, and I don't know, there was just something very wrong about watching that while I don't know. It was quite the thing to get through. I also watched Noroi the Curse, which is also a found footage movie, which I really liked, Japanese. Let's see, we finished Squid Game. It was all right. I finally finished Midnight Mass, which I absolutely loved. I know there's some differing opinion on that one, but I really loved it. It should have me crying at the end, for sure.
Same.
I also watched... Oh my god, it was so bad. Man. And I watched Batman: The Long Halloween Part 1 and 2.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Just trying to throw us off that pause.
I will say I was very excited when they announced it, and it's kind of weird because anytime they do a part 1 and part 2, I'm always kind of well, why just make it a longer movie? You don't need it to be that long. And I feel in this instance, it didn't. I feel I wish that they would have just condensed it, because part 1 is very, very just I don't know. It's just Bruce walking around talking to the crime families and whatnot, and it's kind of introducing you to characters that everybody knows the characters at this point. Part 2 was really good. The entire thing was gorgeous though. The animation's really good. So if you, I don't know, I recommend it. I'm just saying, like, if maybe you're not like a already super Batman fan, maybe it's not the place for you to start. But it was really good. And then I also watched this anthology called Hilarious, which I wasn't expecting to like at all. And it was just like, I want to say it was like 8 or 9 shorts, but it's like super goofy. It's like totally the kind of stuff that we like to watch for the podcast where, so like, for example, the very, very first skit is about shopping carts who are tired of people mistreating them. So they decide to like kill people, and it's very funny. So yeah, I watched some other stuff too, but I kind of only wanted to talk about the things I like.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Shout outs. I'm gonna shout out the new Every Time I Die album, Radical.
No, that was my shout out.
Too bad.
Co-shout out.
Yeah, they're
Like the one time that you don't let me go first, it's already something I.
yeah, we can both shout it out. It's good.
Okay, it's really good.
Kit, what about you?
Oh wait, my shout out is Dune.
Come on. Predator. Predator's a cool movie. Watch Predator, I guess. I can't think of anything. I just saw it on my shelf.
Nice.
Fair. Lori, Aria, you guys got some people shout out?
I saw Titan recently. And,
That's what I was gonna say.
all right. Maybe, okay, you go for that. I'm going to shout out going to your local, like, indie theater if you've got one and watching cool shit around Halloween, because that's also what I've been doing.
Mhm.
Hell yeah.
Oh, did you go to
I
Not Your
thought you
Final
were
Girl
going to shout
Fest
out
at
local
all?
libraries.
Sadly, I did not go to any of them due to timing, which sucks, because the last one, which would have been 2 years ago, we went and saw Miss 45, and it was a lot of fun.
I
But
helped introduce it.
yeah, we did. I guess we had to talk. Yeah, it's really bad when you're introducing a movie and then you just start talking about the dude's earlier work in porn and how it was just like so boring. So the intro went great, but no, they played Possession, which we were really hyped to go see, but we didn't manage to make it out. So we just watched it on our own time because we're covering that right away.
Nice.
And yeah.
All right. Well, what did you think of Titan, however it's pronounced?
Loved
I really
it.
liked it. I think it's definitely a theater movie. Like, it's great to see it. Not even because, like, big screen or whatever, but, like, the fucking sound system. As soon as the movie kicks up, you just feel your skin, like, rippling off your body from all the bass, and you're just like, yeah, I am in bliss. And
Full body experience.
it's fucked up in that way that, like, modern French extreme movies are, but, like, with a touch of class to it. And it's very queer. This one's very, very queer.
And it has so much heart.
Yeah, it's actually kind of nice at times, shockingly.
It was a weirdly heartwarming experience, which I wasn't expecting
Yeah.
watching it.
I want to see it. I loved Raw, but
Yeah, I probably still prefer Raw, but it's one of those things where it's like, that's just because that's how fucking good Raw is, not a shot at this one.
Yeah, and they're so different. You can like hardly
Yeah.
compare them.
Yeah. It's from what I've read, it seems like just a vastly different movie. And also, everything I've read is just wildly confused me on what's actually happening, so I can't wait to actually watch it.
Yeah.
All right. Next week, we're going to watch Motivational Growth,
Yes.
a movie where Jeffrey Combs voices some mold.
It's so good.
Sounds like a winner.
Kit talked about it back in like August, and I got a notification that it came to
For-
Tubi, so I was like, yes.
For
Perfect.
years, been like motivational growth. I needed to show up somewhere, and then Nathan texts the group chat, Kit. I'm like, what? Motivational growth now on Tubi. Oh my god, we have to do it.
Yeah, it'll be next week. It's on Tubi. Lori, Aria, this was fun.
Yeah, thanks
Thank
for
you for
having us
having
on.
us.
It was a blast.
Do you want to tell people where they can find Queer Horror Cult?
Podcast places. I don't know. I get it on Apple, but like, are we at Spotify? I think we are.
Are
Maybe
we?
we're not.
I'm
I don't.
not sure.
I know we weren't for a while because we would have had to pay a whole bunch of extra money,
Yeah,
but then
yeah.
we might have changed that.
Ooh, that's,
You
I don't know.
Oh,
You
yeah.
deal with that stuff. I don't
Oh.
remember.
Let's see if we're on Spotify. But yeah, we're through
So-
Acast, and you can just get us through there as well.
And we're on social media.
Yeah, and we have some fun episodes coming up. I
nice.
think the one we're recording next week is going to be a doozy, so I'm looking forward to that.
Go listen to the episode where they talk about Freaked, the best movie.
Freaked
Oh,
is such a
that's a fun
fucking
one.
treasure.
I think I've said it on here numerous times. It's my favorite horror movie podcast, so go check them out.
Thank you.
We're on Patreon, patreon.com/happysufferpodcast. All that other shit I always say every week. Go follow Kit and Katie. You can follow us on Instagram at Happy Suffer Podcast if you want, but fuck that. Go listen to Queer Horror Cult and go follow them.
Follow all of us.
Yeah, we can all do that. And given your penchant for rip-off movies, we'll have to hook something up when we get into some Italian rip-offs, because that is my bread and butter.
Yeah, I'm in.
Hell yes.
Cool.
We'll do Cruel Jaws.
Okay, yeah, if you haven't seen that, I think that has to be it.
Yeah, I own it. I will watch Cruel Jaws all the time.
Okay, cool.
Talk about Hulk Hogan ripoff inside of an Italian Jaws ripoff. All right, thanks again for coming on.
Yeah,
thank you.
What
you.
this just weird mind fuck of trying to watch this movie. All right, I hope you suffer, but why?